Hello, and welcome to the Kosh, the People's Podcast. I am your host, Timber Smith, and you know what I'm going to say first? Happy Podcast Day. In case you didn't know, the Kosh is a podcast that spotlights people who've had an association with the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities area. Kosh listeners, how are we doing today? It has been a minute since I've recorded an episode, so I feel a little rusty. I got to get back in the swing of this. But let me do what I always do. A few things. What's going on? We are headed into spring, and it feels spring-ish. Except for we got some little nasty snow earlier this week. I hate late snow. Like, that's the worst snow because it's like heavy and then it's wind. Nah. Can we just get to the spring part? Let's just get the warm. I just want to get the warm. Let's be warm. I can't wait until summer. Can I just say that? For many, many reasons. One of them is that my daughter is getting married, so it is a big thing coming in the future of the Kosh in my life. But more importantly, I just like warm weather. I just want it to be warm soon as possible. Can we get to that? Let me tell you something. Okay. Now, you know what I'm about to do. I got contacted by our friend Fat Mama, and she was like, hey, guess what? I got a great guest for you. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. Tell me about that. So we had a conversation, and we try to do a barriers-free podcast here in the Kosh. In other words, if you've got the time and you ask, and since this podcast is about getting to know your neighbors, we went ahead and made sure that we reached out to this individual. And I'm pretty excited about this conversation with them because it seems like they have really, really cool things going on. They're doing really positive things in our community. And you know I'm always all about that. But before we go too much further, I just want to make sure that I also send a quick shout out to our friends over there at Sunken Paddle, making the best of it, and the sponsor of the Kosh episode. Appreciate you over there. And I do believe we are at a time that they are reopening. So, you know, if you haven't gone to their tasting room yet and sampled those yummy ciders, it is definitely a trip to do. It is something to bring friends and family to. It is a doggone good time. But let's not get too far off track. And what I really want to tell you is this. I don't know how I continue to get these amazing, amazing guests. And guess what? This week isn't any different. So, without any further ado, this week's guest is Curtis Dewitt. Hey, Curtis.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic today. It might be a little cold outside, but just like you, I can't wait for that summer weather to get here. You know, all the activities and everything.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. That's summer weather. Can we just get some heat going on?
Right, exactly. I don't like going out in the morning and it's just cold. Yeah, like, I'd rather go out and just be wearing whatever I want and just have fun today.
Bruh. Facts. I'm all about that. But here's my thing. I will say this. I like spring clothes. So, okay. And when I say that, what I'm saying is this. I like a good flannel. Like, there's something about a quality good flannel. It's that weight of that material. It's soft. It's cozy. So I like the clothes that you tend to wear in fall and spring because they just feel good to me.
Right. I agree with that 100%. Like, I like my shorts, and T-shirt. Like, when I go out, I don't like to have to find my coat or, all the time there's always the lost glove you can't find.
Bruh, that's evil. Do you think the lost glove and the lost sock is in the same dimension, or are those separate dimensions?
I think there's little gnomes running around somewhere that they're taking them from us.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. See, but here's the thing: the only reason I feel differently about the lost glove versus the lost sock is because you see the lost glove everywhere, right? You see that lonely lost glove on the sidewalk and in stores and offices. Like someone dropped that glove. You don't never find the lost sock. It's just, it disappears into another dimension.
Right. Or you see it laying around when you don't need it. And then when you do need it, it's not there again.
In my household, I'm actually thinking Bosco the podcast dog has a lot to do with my lost socks, and I think that's why we never find them again.
Right, he does look like he's got a lot of energy.
Oh my God, you gonna find out.
Right,
I'm gonna warn you now, Curtis.
I got a dog at home too. I have an all white German Shepherd, and she's got a lot of energy when she goes outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Bosco is all about, like, you just wait. About midway through this episode, Bosco's going to be like, hey, can I get one of these belly rubs? And then he's just going to nudge up against you and roll over.
Right. That's all right with me.
All right. So, well, Curtis, you ready to jump in?
I sure am.
All right. Can you please share a little something about yourself and your association with the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities region?
All right. Well, a little bit about myself is I grew up in Arizona. I was born in Yuma, Arizona. I grew up there. Moved to Wisconsin in about 2004. The connection I have to Oshkosh, I would say, would be my friends and my fiance and our 10-year-old son. My friends are like my family. You know, I'll do anything for them, everything. You know, I'm real big into volunteering in the community. Like, I want to help and do anything I can for my community. The other connection that I would say I would have to Oshkosh would just be Dwitz Creations. You know, like I'm always putting in the footwork to go anywhere I can to sponsor my business. Making all these new connections, talking to people, just having fun every day with it. So
how long have you been here in Oshkosh now?
I've been in Oshkosh. I moved away for a little bit. I was in Oshkosh for about 12 years. I moved away for a little bit. I came back. I've been back for about 3 years now.
Okay.
So I've been in the surrounding area for probably about 20 years.
Oh, okay. So, oh no, you Kosh.
Yeah.
You've been around here.
Yep, I've been everywhere around here.
All right. And to make that transition from Arizona to here, which one do you like better and why?
I like we were talking earlier with the weather and everything. I love Arizona because of the heat. Like, give me a good dry heat, I'm good. The humidity and sweating all the time,
bruh.
Like, I'm done with it. Like,
yeah.
But no, I love it up here, no matter what the weather is. You know, the people in this community, when they band together, they band together. It's not a community then, it's a family. When something happens, the community comes together for it.
Facts. I agree wholeheartedly with you. So let's talk about this Dwitz Creations.
Dwitz Creations, yeah.
Dwitz Creations. How did you, well, what is it? Let's just start with that, right? What is it?
Dwitz Creations is novelty items, basically. Best way to put it. It's anything that you can make, you can do, you can come up with anything off the top of your head as a customer or myself and create it. I've always been a creative person. I've done crafts for 30 some years of my life, whether it be knitting or crocheting or plastic canvas or, you know, the melty beads that you iron, you know, to printing to...
Oh, you had me at knitting and crocheting. That's ice cold.
Yeah.
A good crocheter?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to talk.
Yeah. So, and I'm self-taught. Like, no one's ever taught me. Like, I feel it means more to myself if I put in that effort and learn it myself. So...
Facts.
But yeah, that's what Dwitz Creations is. It's all about creativity and broadening the mind, basically, to open yourself up to new things that you love to do and you want to pursue it.
What are the most popular things that you create?
My most popular items right now are my tumblers. I have 20 ounce, 25 ounce, and 35 ounce tumblers. I can put any images on those. You could send me a personal picture and I could put it on there. I've had people say, wow, how did you clear up that picture? It's all with the editing programs I have and things like that. But My other most popular item is my t-shirts. I have so many people asking for this, that, or anything else on t-shirts, and some of the stuff that comes up with, I amaze myself. Like I never thought about putting this on a t-shirt. This is great. So those are my two big items right now, and I'm hoping to get into more. So
okay, what's something that we would be surprised that you can make?
I would say my biggest surprise to make. That's a hard one because I do so much stuff.
Okay, let me ask this then, and maybe we'll come back. What's the thing that you personally think is the coolest thing that you've ever made?
I would have to say I did time in prison, and that's where I learned to knit and crochet. While I was in there, I got approached by one of the Army recruiters that was in there talking to us, and he said, I saw some of your stuff up in visitation. He said, we're looking for somebody to crochet a flag. So I crocheted a flag for their armory that was 30 feet by 115, I think it was. So I did that all myself, just sitting there all day long, just crocheting. Yeah. So I think that was one of the coolest things I ever did was that big old American flag.
And that's without a pattern?
Yep. That's without a pattern.
You just did it.
Yep.
Oh, no, that's skill.
Yeah. So, and like I said, when I put my heart into something, I put it fully. I put in the work, I put in the time, I put in the effort, I learn everything I can, I watch every videos I can. Anything I can do to learn it, I'm going to. So I don't ever start off, anything I do, I don't ever start off beginner. I always go expert. Like, what other way to do it?
Right. Okay, so you do craft things as well as, it sounds like you definitely have moved into a digital background too. Mm-hmm. Tell us more about that.
So my digital background on it all is all within my editing. I do the business cards, the menus, all sorts of stuff like that. The digital part is getting a little bit hard for me, but I'm figuring it out. Like I said, I don't ever do anything as beginner. I always do it as expert.
Is it just keeping up with the technology?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always hard.
All the new AI stuff and things like that. It's a task to figure out. It's a hurdle to get over, but it'll get there. And every day I surprise myself with new things that I find out, or new things that I do. It's like I never thought I'd be here. Like it's amazing to what you can do with all this.
All right. So you briefly mentioned you served a little time.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
So I got into drugs really bad when I was 18. And I decided to rob the place of employment I was at. They weren't paying me or anything. And with the drugs on my mind, it was like, well, I'm going to get my get back.
Bruh.
So I decided to rob the place of employment I was at. I did 3 years in prison for it, and I made the best while I was in there. I learned legal stuff. I learned how to knit, crochet. I sat there teaching myself all from books. I didn't have videos. I didn't have none of that. It's all going to the library and pulling books and learning myself.
It's funny. Some of the most successful or who I would also call the most creative entrepreneurs that I know have served time and have taught themselves and came out, just on fire and ready to really add value to the community and to life.
Right. And that's one thing that really inspired me is, I heard while I was locked up in prison that this guy was the chef to the president, and he used to be a felon, and he did 15 years in prison. And I was like, that's inspiring to me, like if he can do it, I can do it.
Facts.
So that's one thing that inspired me to go out and push myself more.
And what made you create this business instead of something else? Or was it you decided that I'm going to make a wide umbrella of things so I'm not limited in how I can serve my talents and the products I can create?
So what inspired me to start my business was me being a felon and me being, the background I have, my drug use, everything else. It was hard for me to keep a job, to find a good job that would pay me what I was worth, everything like that. So me and my fiance, Jessica, we talked and we're like, look, you've been doing all this stuff for your crafts and everything else. You've wanted this for many years. Why don't you just start it? And I said, okay. And she told me, well, just be a stay-at-home dad, focus on your stuff, get it all going. And that was a big support to me right there. That was a big, hey, you got this, So I sat down, I figured out what I wanted to do. I bought a Cricut, I bought sublimation printers,
Bruh.
and I started going. And it literally took off overnight. Like, I did not expect it to get as big as it already is. I thought, I'm just going to have family and friends, they're buying stuff, whatever. But when I put in the work and I went out to the streets and I was walking here or there telling everybody this is what I do, I'm trying to get this going, it really took off going into these different businesses and saying, this is me, putting myself out there. It really took off and I appreciate it all.
Okay. That's fire. It's not easy to get out here and get in these streets.
It's not.
And just start asking and letting people know, what you're doing, because there's always, that hesitancy or those first no's are hard.
Exactly. There were a lot of no's. There were a lot. Once I got my foot in the door with somebody and people started seeing it, those no's turned into yeses real quick. So
was it the products that they saw, or was it the fact you were persistent, or is it both?
I think it was a little bit of both. And I think, the way I look, I have a beard, and I wear, whatever. I think it throws a lot of people off, like, I don't really know about this guy, like he looks like he might be sketchy, but once they see it and they see the work that I put in, they're like, okay, yeah, like, let's go with him.
Well, see, to me, you look creative.
Right.
So I would have guessed, if you're telling me that your business is about creating things and products and marketing products, I'd have been like, yep, you look like that dude.
Yep.
maybe that's just me. Okay. If you weren't doing what you're doing right now professionally, what would you like to be doing?
I have two things I love doing, and that's working on cars and cooking. I'm a great cook. I love cooking. My son and I we'll go out fishing. We'll do catfish fries and all sorts of stuff.
Wait! Time out! We going. You can't just roll past me with that. So you a cat fisherman?
Yes, I am. On the back of our car, it says Catfish and Curtis. So, yep, I caught over 100 catfish this last year.
Oh. All right, Curtis, we gonna have to talk, because I don't know if you know this, but I'm a serious cat fisherman myself.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yes. I even got a cat. I got my fisherman name, and that is Moonshine Slim. If you see me on the bank, holla at me.
You're right. I'm gonna have to show you some spots.
Oh, wait, no. I might be showing you some spots, but you know what? I ain't gonna be above it. If you want to show me something, I'm gonna take it.
Exactly.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. I don't move around like that no more. See, I used to fish and move around, but now I like fishing over here by the amphitheater. Yeah, that's my favorite spot.
Yeah, I got a way better spot than that for you. Like they roll in there, and you don't have to worry about the sheephead in that area either.
Ooh.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah. I don't worry about sheephead anyway, because I fish with the stank.
Okay.
What you fishing with?
I fish with shrimp, or I fish with worms.
Okay.
So you leave some raw shell-on shrimp out in the sun for a few hours. Let it get nice and red and stinky, and you toss that out there. They're going for it.
It's a wrap.
Yep.
I agree with that.
So they love the stank.
All right. And you put in 100 this past year?
Yes, I did.
Ooh.
Yep. I would not leave that water without a cooler full of catfish. And they were ranged from anywhere from, I'd say, 8 pounds to good 12, 13 pounds. So
See, I like mine slightly, I like that like 5, 6.
right.
That to me, that's about right.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta say, last year my best catch was a 4.5 foot long sturgeon on a 25-pound test. Yeah,
Oh.
it took me an hour and a half to reel in, but it was an accomplishment getting it in, and like I got it up to the bank. I kept it in the water and all that because I had to cut my line.
Yeah, you got to cut the line.
Yeah, you can't keep the sturgeon.
Nope.
But I measured him out and stuff there, and he weighed a good bit. So.
That ain't no joke.
You're right. It's like pulling in a railroad tie out of the water.
Facts. All right. Curtis, you already make me want to go fishing with you, my man.
Right.
All right. I'm sorry. You know what? You hit me with that. I lost where we were even going.
We were talking about cooking there.
All right, cooking.
That catfish.
Sorry about that. You got me excited. Curtis. I was like, man. Bruh. Because this year, you know what? I haven't gone for several years. Like when I go. Like the years that I go catfishing, I go every day. Come home from work, I get on the bank, and it's just.
I feel that, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love everything about it. I love people walking by you saying, "Hey, how you doing? What's biting?" You notice that?
Yeah,
like,
every time. What's your catch? All that.
I said the only difference between being a lazy bum and being a productive citizen is a fishing pole.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because you can sit there all day and do nothing, but if you got a fishing pole in front of you,
your family,
Well, people, it's the way people perceive you.
Exactly.
Right? Because they look at that man, he,
put in the work for it.
He putting the work in.
Yeah. My son, every day he comes after school, and when it's nice out and he knows we can get out there, he's like, "Dad, can we go fishing? Dad, can we go fishing?" Like, yep, that's all he want to do.
Oh, yes. Yes, that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right. Sorry, cooking. Now, let's just roll into this now, and I'm going to ask you this. Okay, since we catching all these cats, how do you prep your cats?
Yeah, see, the ingredients are a secret. The ingredients are a secret, but I like to deep fry them.
You deep fry? Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
So, all the fishermen, they got their secret recipes. Everybody's got their own.
I'm not going to lie. I do a vinegar soak.
Okay.
I try to pull some of that out. I used to do a milk soak, but I found that the vinegar soak works better than the milk soak.
Okay.
And the fish doesn't hold the vinegar,
right?
But it does pull some of the fishy out.
Yeah.
So
that's one thing. That's one thing I do use too is the vinegar, and it doesn't taste as gamey or fishy or yeah. I agree with you on that one. I gotta say though, one of the best dishes that I love to cook is it's gonna sound weird, but it's a buffalo chicken lasagna, and it's like the lasagna the way you stack it, but without that red meat sauce. You put down buffalo chicken like with the the hot sauce and all that, and oh yeah, it comes out really good.
Let's talk more about that. Wait, because I'm trying to envision it. So there's no sauce other than buffalo sauce.
Yeah, it's the buffalo sauce and chicken. So instead of putting down the meat with the red sauce,
so no ground beef, just chicken, buffalo chicken, but you make it the lasagna the same way every other way.
Yep, exactly.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
And what
you got to put the ricotta on there or the cottage cheese, whatever you prefer. Yeah.
Okay, what cut we using? Are we using thighs? Are we using breast?
I use all breasts, and I smoke the breasts.
Oh,
because it gives that good smoky flavor into the lasagna with the buffalo and everything else in there. It's good.
Okay. You gonna have to invite a brother over. Facts, bruh. I'm just saying. All right, what else?
Another thing I like to do, and I'm gonna get into that with the business here soon. I just have to get the right licensing. Is my jellies. I do jellies. I do a jalapeno jelly. I do a smoked apple cinnamon jelly. I get into them all. My best one is my smoked peach raspberry jelly, and I can't keep jars on the shelf. They go quick with the friends, So, yeah.
Okay, so you jar too.
Yep. I can and all that. So.
Oh, see, Curtis, I'm learning a lot about you, my man. And these are all things close to my heart now. So I don't know if you noticed, but I am nice with hot sauce.
Okay.
I make homemade hot sauce, grow it out the garden. Oh,
We're
yeah.
gonna have to work.
Yeah. You do hot things?
Oh yeah, I do. My son loves hot things too. We went to a place in Omaha, Nebraska called Ashley's Collectibles. They have over 4,000 different bottles of hot sauce there, and one of them's called Satan's Blood.
Okay.
And he gave me just a little tiny drop on a spoon. I tell you what, burned for a week. It felt like.
Yes. Well, all I'm gonna say is, I don't know if I got something like that, but the Kosh over here, we ain't messing around. We got some things for you.
All right.
We make some flavors. My last good batch that I tried last year, I made a pineapple hot sauce.
Okay.
Yes, that's nice.
That sounds really good. Right? I love pineapple.
It was nice. Did we do a mango?
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So, well, you can tell those things we don't grow out the garden.
Right.
But the peppers, we grow our own peppers.
And that's like one of the things of, the pineapple hot sauce you were talking about there. Yeah, I'm one of those that I'm on the pineapple belongs on pizza bandwagon, so.
All right. So, okay. I am too. Our favorite pizza. You done jumped into pizza now.
Yeah.
So now we got to talk about pizza. We go pepperoni instead of Canadian bacon.
Okay.
So pepperoni pineapple.
All right.
Jalapeno.
That sounds good.
Oh, it's fire.
See, I grew up with the Hawaiian pizzas with my family, but my parents used to put a spin on it though. It would be Canadian bacon, pineapple, and cashews.
Cashews?
Cashews.
What?
Yeah. And I always thought that was a weird combination, but when they're cooked, the cashews turn soft and they add a good salty flavor to it. So
I'm not doubting it. I just never heard of it.
yeah, I never heard of it either. And you can't find that anymore.
Nah, the pizza place, you don't have to give them the cashews for them to do it for you.
Right? Like my fiance, she works at Domino's Pizza in Green Bay.
Okay.
She's a GM there. So I eat a lot of pizza, and I'll be coming up with off the wall combinations for her, and she'd be like, "You're just gross."
Oh my God. You know what? When you work at a pizza place, because I used to work at Rocky Rococo's, that is something where you just be making things up.
Oh, exactly.
You be like, let's throw a little of this on here. Let's try that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She always says, "I'm just so sick of pizza." I'm not.
Yeah, I don't get sick of pizza.
No.
I just can't. I've learned now here, I get sick of certain types of pizza. And I don't even mean like the topping. What I mean is like a brand. So like I worked at Rocky Rococo's. They ate so much Rocky Rococo's, it was years before I could ever even smell those breadsticks again.
Right, exactly.
Right, because it's distinct.
Yep, it
so
is.
I get what you're saying. Okay. Well, we done learned something today, Curtis.
Oh yeah, you can tell I'm a very creative person.
Well, you into some things, and I also see we could hang out.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a fun summer.
It's gonna be a fun. I'm gonna see you on the bank.
Yep,
and I am gonna take you up on knowing where that fishing hole is.
All right.
Okay, you ready to jump into the first segment?
Well, I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, first segment is called "What in the World is Going On With," and that is where we start with the phrase "What in the world," and then you tell us what's on your mind. So, Curtis, what's on your mind?
Well, what's on my mind is a big thing in my life, other than my business, is recovery in the community with drugs, alcohol, whatever it may be. I see a lot of people in the community suffering from it. Myself included was one of them. I am 2 years sober now, and I'm going strong, and I want to do anything I can to help out my community, whether that be with the drugs or whether it be with, helping somebody cross the street, or I see somebody struggling to move a couch into their house. Hey, let me help you. I have went down to the river multiple times, and as you know from being from Oshkosh as well as I do, there's a lot of drug addicts that hang out down there. by the amphitheater, all over down there, by the probation office. And I'll reach out to them and I'll say, hey, like, what can I do to help you, or how are you doing today? Are you eating? Are you taking care of yourself? Do you have safe places to go? This last year, I gave over $100 out to the homeless down there to help them out. I had one guy that said, hey, I got my tent stolen. I went to my backyard. I was airing out my tent for the summer, ready to use it. And I said, you know what? He needs it more than I do. So I gave it to him. And he was so grateful for that. He's like, well, what can I give you? I said, I don't want anything for it. I just want to know that you're safe. You're doing what you can to protect yourself. I actually picked up a guy from the river, not picked him up, but I keep in contact with him from the river to sponsor him. And he'll call me. And I told him, any hour of the day, call me. And he'll call me and say, hey, I'm feeling this type of way. All right, let me come sit with you. Let me talk with you. Let me, even if I just have to stay on the phone with you, whatever it is, I will go out of my way to help him out. I was always raised, give the shirt off your back to anybody. Be nice, be kind. And that's what I try to do. And with the recovery in the world right now, yeah, there's a lot of good places, but they're so overwhelmed, they can't get to everybody. And if I can at least reach one person, I feel like I'm making a difference. And with me, what changed it all around was 2.5 years ago, I was found by the river at the end of New York Ave overdosing. I was going through a real bad breakup, and like everybody else, it hit me a lot harder. And I turned to drugs instead of turning to somebody else. And the fisherman that found me said that he didn't want to go out fishing that day, but something just kept telling him, go, go, go. And he found me. And yeah, I went to the hospital and I got better, but the addiction was so strong. I went on the run. I had warrants out for my arrest at the time. I went on the run for about 4 months. When the cops found me, I was so done with the drugs and everything else. I wanted help. And I got into treatment. I did 79 days at Pathways. Can't say anything bad about that program. That program gave me the best help I could ever get. And I graduated there, maximum benefits obtained. I did their sober living program, and I moved out of that and created what I got today, But being around addicts and, hearing their stories and stuff like that, I want to do everything I can to help them. And that's another passion of mine, is just helping them, letting them know that there is a light at the end of that dark tunnel.
That don't sound easy, my man.
It's not.
Well, I am glad that fisherman that day decided that he was going to go fishing.
Yep. That's what I did. That's what I'm proud of too. I still keep in contact with him, and he is super proud of how far I have come. So I've got the support out there.
All right. That is a different fish. The fishing community is a good community.
Yes, it is.
They're good folks.
Yes, they are.
just trying to make it happen.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yep. Especially on that river. And since I do fish down there, I never assume who's out there, because you have your group of gentlemen or people. I shouldn't say gentlemen. I should say people out there who they're just out there. And so I never know what's going on in their life.
Right.
Or what's their gig, but they're always kind.
Yeah, they are.
And I know some people get freaked out, but I'm just like, they be minding their own business. Yeah. They don't bother nobody.
They just want to chill.
Yeah, leave them alone.
Yeah.
Let them do what they do.
Yep.
They, like everybody else, they come and ask if the fish biting.
Exactly. Or they're out there fishing with you.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
Some of them. Yep. That is for sure. Okay. I appreciate that. And thank you for sharing.
No problem.
My what in the world is going on with is, what in the world is going on with money in political races?
Bruh.
Okay.
You got me on that one.
I'm frustrated. And this is and here's the thing. I've griped about this before. Kosh listeners, I have griped about this before, and it just has to do with the fact that, like, I'm sick of these commercials. And what I don't like about this whole money in political races is this. All right, just because you have the most money does not tell me if you are the best person for the people, right? It just means you got the most money.
Exactly.
And so we're going to see the most whatever, whether it's advertising for the person or advertising against the person they're running against. But at the end of the day, none of it tells me who's really the best. It just tells me who's got the most money by the amount of stuff I see.
Exactly.
And I'm tired of it because you know what? I don't even know why. I don't think we should allow it. I think we should have a cap. Like everybody that runs a political race should be able to do like $1 million in advertising as a whole for the entire race or less. Shoot, as far as I'm concerned, it could be like, let's cut it all the way down. And you can advertise with $1,000. Then you really got to get creative.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But don't be disturbing all our lives with this nonsense. It drives me crazy.
Exactly.
I just want peace, at the end of the day. And here's the thing. I don't know about a lot of people, but I don't know if any of it helps or matters because I like to hope. And I know this isn't necessarily true, but I like to hope that a lot of people are informed voters. In other words, they go do some research, right? And figure out this person represents the things that I stand for or that I stand 10 toes down for, and that they're going to make decisions that are aligned with the things that I believe in, right? All those nasty commercials play it back to back to back to back to back to back. And this person did this person didn't do this person this and this and this. And that's just, and it's a game of who has the most money. And what makes me mad about the money is it ain't even their money. Somebody comes along who's got big money and they create a super PAC and then they funnel in all this doggone money that takes away my peace and all of our peace. I don't even care what you vote. Ain't nobody got no peace. You got peace?
No.
All right.
No matter what I'm on social media or anything, it's always advertise, and it's all political.
Yeah, I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
Sick of it. Right? So I just think we need to change that game and make people actually, instead of it being about who has the most money, it should be about who runs to the people, talk to the people, tell them what you're actually running for, have these conversations. Because I don't feel like those conversations are nearly as influential as all of these bad commercials and all this bad advertising and bad pop-ups on your social media and all of this other crap. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know.
Like, I don't care about a person's past or anything. Like, you're just spending your money just to tell me nothing. I can see that anywhere. I can CCAP them and find out, if I wanted to. Like, but throwing around your money to me is just showing off.
Well, the thing is, it ain't even them. Right, you have people some big mega donor who doesn't even live here in Wisconsin come and throw all his money down to affect how we feel about these people, and I'm just like, nah.
No, it doesn't faze me.
But I don't think it can't not faze some people some kind of way because if you hear that drumbeat of negativity over and over and over again, whether you realize it or not, it has some type of effect on your subconscious.
A subliminal message, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I want them to get rid of it all. And let's get back to people just running on merit.
Exactly.
What
good handshake and tell me about yourself.
Yeah. Let's run on some merit.
Right.
Merit's supposed to be this big thing. Right? It's something that's been talked about very recently about people in their merit and who's deserving. Why don't we have people running on merit instead of running on who has the most money or the most financial support?
Exactly.
That's where I stand.
Right?
All right.
I agree with you on that one.
All right. I'm going to let it go. Okay. Next segment. Next segment is called 21 Questions. Curtis, this is an opportunity for you to answer some really amazing questions. There are not 21, but the questions are so good that we might get 21 answers out of you.
Yeah, all right.
All right. So the first question is, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for my life the way it is. Biggest things that I'm grateful for is my son and my fiance, Jessica. Without them, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. They keep me grounded. They keep me going in the direction I need to go. I wanted to create this business that I have to give my son something when I pass away later on, hopefully years from now, that he can be proud of and say, my dad, built this from the ground up. Every day he loves seeing the stuff that I create. He loves working with me. And I'm grateful for that, to be in his life, to be the man that he looks up to instead of what my past was. So every day I'm grateful for that. And to see the smile on my fiance's face when I create something, or I call her and say, hey, I got this awesome account today, or I got this awesome order, and she tells me she's proud of me, that's what I'm grateful for.
What motivates you?
My son. My son motivates me every single day. The other thing that motivates me is the recovery. Just hitting it one day at a time, seeing the new challenges and things to face that day. My love for my work and what I do motivates me also to see all the new creative things that are coming out, what ideas people can come up with, because the ideas coming off other people's head motivates me into other things. Like, oh, cool, I never thought of something like this. Like, let's see what I can do to put my own spin on it, Things like that motivate me. Just all the different designs from the community, my son, recovery, my fiance, it all motivates me together as a whole.
What grounds you?
I'd say my recovery grounds me a lot, because I look back on where I was at and where I'm at now and going towards where the goals that I want to go to. It keeps me grounded that I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to the dark days. I want to stay towards the light. And I think that keeps me pretty well grounded.
What does success look like to you?
To me, success can come in many forms, from accomplishing a small goal or a dream or building up something you worked so hard for. So yeah, it could be anything. Even success could be just getting out of bed in the morning. If you have severe depression or whatever, just getting out of bed in the morning, that could be a success.
What irritates you?
Oh, my biggest irritation, my biggest pet peeve, I would say, is being lied to. I would rather be told the truth than a story made up. I would rather my feelings be hurt and told the truth than lied to. I don't like being lied to at all.
What scares you?
My biggest fear would be heights. I can't stand heights. Like, I could be on top of a building and I'll look over and I'll be fine. That's I feel secure to that. But if I'm tied to a cord, 500 feet in the air, that's a whole different type of heights. And it's the feeling of security when I'm up there. You tied with one little frayed cord and you're done. So heights scare me.
Facts. What recharges your soul?
Shooting darts and being out with friends. Sometimes I prefer, just being at home with my fiance and my son. But going out having fun, it recharges me. I've been a dart shooter for 15 years. I've done the Continental Dart Tournament in Indianapolis, shoot mini leagues, tournaments, things like that. Just being around the dart community also, there's a lot of support there from fellow shooters, whether it be tips on how to shoot or, hey, how's your day going, or, whatever. That recharges my soul right there, because I know I could reach out to anybody out there and say, hey, like, I'm struggling here, with some of the good friends that I have out there, and they'll walk me through it. So, that a lot of that recharges my soul, is just shooting darts and having fun with friends.
How do you define love?
Love is a tough one there. I would say love to me would be committed to somebody that is almost like you, that gets you. The support, the cherishment between both of you two. There's all different types of love. Like, oh, I love that baseball over there is not the same type of love as, oh, I love my fiance. But the love, how I would describe it, is being committed, faithful, and trustworthy. That's what I would think of love is.
What is the most memorable life lesson you've learned from a parent, a guardian, or a mentor?
I would have to say a mentor. I've been a Buddhist for going on almost 20 years, I would say. And during my work, I meditate and stuff like that. It's peaceful in my environment that I'm in. But the most thing that I've learned, the best memorable lesson that I was taught was, it's an ancient Buddhist saying that goes, he who stands in his own shadow wonders why it is dark. And the meaning of that is, if you're always standing in the darkness of your past, you'll never see the brightness of your future. So I'm always, I tell myself that every single day. And I'm always looking for that light, like staying in that light, so I don't go back to the darkness of my past. I want to see that brightness of my future, and I want to stay in that warmth.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
Let me set a scenario. Okay. Curtis, you out here. You are about to go speak in front of your colleagues, the people that share similar interests, do things that you have passions about, people that are excited to see you, Curtis, share what they're about to share, right? But before you do that, you got to walk out, and you need a song to walk out to. So what is your walkout song?
All right. Like, I was thinking about this for the last couple of days, what my walkout song would be. And, there's a lot of good songs out there. There is. But the thing that strikes my soul, and that's, through talking about my past and everything like that, like, I didn't pick a song until now. But I know what it would be, and that would be Save Me by Jelly Roll. Because it's all about saving of the soul and getting through it and going forward, and it speaks to me, and that I think that would be a good one for me to walk out to. I love that song.
Okay. That is amazing. And you have survived 21 questions. Okay, next segment. Next segment is called Word Association. Word association is where I'm going to say some words to you, and you're going to tell me what comes to your mind. And we have a long-standing tradition here at the Kosh, and that is this. We've always started with the same word, and that is the word of family. That is the word of love. It is the word of community. It is the word of unity, and that word is food.
Ooh. Hey, we were talking food earlier, and one of the biggest things that I love, no matter where I go, I always look on the menu. If they got food, I look on there to see if they have this. Chicken wings. I gotta have a good bone-in chicken wing, whether it be breaded or just deep fried, whatever. It's the sauce that they put on it, all the different types of varieties. That comes to mind right there when you say food.
Mm. Curtis, why did you keep saying things that keep saying to me, Curtis, we need to hang out? Why aren't we already really good friends?
Right? Exactly.
Because there is nothing about what you were saying that I do not highly agree with. That is it. There is some, here's what I've got to say. Like, I don't feel like we have that wing spot here. Like,
exactly.
Like, okay, now I'm not trying to be insulting to those out there that be doing wings, because there's
some good wings.
There's some
out there.
good wings out there, right? I'm going to tell you, the place that used to be my favorite wing spot in Oshkosh? Revs. Revs used to have a true deep fried chicken wing, and it was the whole wing. Ooh. So it wasn't, and I mean, it even had the little leg on it. Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't the like just a half a wing and then call it a wing. No, it was, you got a full wing where you ripped it apart.
Right.
You ripped the drummy from the flat.
Yeah, exactly.
They used to have that. They don't have it no more. But that there was the truth for a long time. Ooh. Now, I like the other place, and I never go here, but the last time I went there, their chicken was fire. And that was Pizza Ranch.
Okay.
Pizza Ranch chicken is good.
All right. I haven't had Pizza Ranch chicken yet, so I might have to try that now.
You might want to try that. It's decent. Oh, man, now you got me thinking.
We're always going back to food.
Well, food is, once again, it is happiness. Okay. Cocktail or beer?
I got to say, there's two things. Like, I'm not too much of a cocktail drinker. I like my Bud Light. When I'm out shooting darts, give me a bucket of Bud Light, I'm good. I'm in recovery, and that's another thing with the recovery community is they say you're not in recovery unless you're fully sober. There's some of us that can handle our drinking. There's some of us that can't handle our drugs. That's where it comes into play with me, is I can't handle that one thing, but I can handle this one. Never gotten in trouble with this one. But like, give me a good Bud Light, I'm good, and a peanut butter whiskey shot. Oh, that old smoky peanut butter.
You like that, huh?
Oh yeah. I love that. I want to try to incorporate that into some recipes here soon.
Bruh, that might, yeah. Shop local.
So see, I couldn't come up with anything on that one. Like I don't know. There's so many good shops. There is. Like, I'll go into any small town shop. It just, what's out there, it strikes me. Like, that's when I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go in there. They got some good stuff. One of my favorite places to go in town, though, is Mojo's. I go there with my son all the time. Video games, Legos, you got me. Like, I love playing video games with my son and doing Legos, like the Technic Legos, and watching him build and create stuff just like I can. I love going there with him.
You said you didn't have one, and then you gave me a great one.
Yeah, like that. That's one of the ones that we love going into.
Okay, so. Mojo's. Okay. Yeah. Concert.
Jelly Roll all day long. I love to go see Jelly Roll. I love his music. I love what he's about. He's come from the same past as I have. His music speaks to me, and he's one of them that I really would love to go see.
Streaming.
See, I stream a lot of stuff. One of my biggest things is while I'm working at home, I got a TV hanging up, right there where I can watch TV or hear it, the whole time. Most of the things that I'm on is Paramount Plus. I love watching Paramount. All the new stuff that comes out there, all the new shows, everything. Paramount Plus is my streaming.
What are you watching on Paramount right now?
I just actually finished watching Tulsa King on there with I can't remember his name. Sylvester Stallone, I think is who was in it. I might be wrong, but it's all about an Italian mobster coming up, moving over into Tulsa, Oklahoma, and creating an entrepreneurship out of nothing. Like, just walking into a store saying, hey, we're going to do this. You don't have this. We're going to take your money and do this. Like, it's a good show to watch. I like it. Like, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go back one and ask you about the coolest concert you've ever gone to.
The coolest concert I would say I ever went to would be Florida Georgia Line. I went to saw them at the American Amphitheater, or American Family Amphitheater in Milwaukee during Summerfest, and it was the coolest concert. Like they had the lights shut off and everybody turned on their cell phones, and it looked like daytime during the concert. At night, like all the lights from the cell phones, everything come on, and then they started into their song. That This Is How We Roll. That was a good song. Yeah, that was a good time.
Entrepreneurship.
I would say doing what you love doing. To me, like, you can entrepreneur in anything, but if you don't love doing it, then, why do it? So to me, entrepreneurship would be doing what you love doing.
That's a unique way to look at it. You do hope that if you start a business in something, it's something you've got passion for.
Exactly. If you don't have passion for it, then there's no fun in it.
Well, I don't know, unless it makes a lot of money.
Right.
Maybe that's the fun. I don't know. What do I know, though? Okay. Belonging.
Belonging to me is feeling accepted where you go. If you don't feel accepted, you're always in that fight or flight mode. You know what I mean? Like belonging to me is feeling accepted. If you don't feel accepted, you just want to run.
That's true. That's very, very true. Okay. Well, Curtis, you have survived word association. Okay. So our next segment is called Kosh Hidden Gems. And with the Kosh Hidden Gems, it's your opportunity to share a hidden gem with our Kosh listeners. And what that could be anything. It could be here, it could be anywhere, it could be whatever. But usually it's something that maybe you don't think a lot of people know about. Or maybe it's something everybody knows about, but they don't know this cool detail about it. What's your hidden gem?
My hidden gem would be, I have actually two of them. Well, three. Fat Mama's restaurant, for one. I love her. Yeah, I love her food. And it's such a great, peaceful environment in there. Like, I'm telling you, I love going in there. I'll go in there just to work if I had to. Like, work on my editing stuff during the day. Just seeing the smile on her face when you walk in there, the good home cooked food that she does, it feels right in there.
Yeah, her soul is everything.
Yeah.
Look, I want to give the biggest shout out to Fat Mama.
Yep.
I got crazy love for her.
Oh, all day.
And you ain't lying. You ain't lying.
Another one would be Angie's Bar. Angie's Bar over on Ohio Street. She's been a big supporter of me. She like every time I go in there, there's always a smile and a welcoming face. The drinks are always right there. The dart tournaments, they're good there. The bands that play there, the little games that she has, sitting on the sidebars, the cribbage tournaments, like everything that goes on there is her back patio area. Everything is just amazing there. I love chilling there.
I haven't gone there yet.
Yeah, it's a good spot. Angie runs a good bar there.
Yeah, I mean, I see it all the time because I go to Players.
Yeah,
and like I'm just like, oh, I wonder, but I've never gone into that establishment, right. And I've gone in almost everything here in the Kosh.
Yeah, she runs a good bar there. She does.
Okay.
The other one, like I said earlier, would be Mojo's. Mojo's, that little hidden gem there. You can find all sorts of old games there. You can find Legos there. You can find Thai Beanie Babies, comic books, figurines, everything in there. Like it's a little kid's dream. I'm telling you. Even for a big kid like me, it's still a dream to walk in there.
I think it's probably who it's really for.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I know how that works, man.
Right.
I'm weak for the same thing. Legos are that was my favorite thing as a kid. Like Legos and Erector sets.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the best.
Yes, they were. Like it's hard to find Erector sets growing up now. Like with our age, you can't find them unless you're finding them on some auction site.
I'm sure.
Yeah, because I wanted to get a set for my son, and I couldn't find them very anywhere. You get the new style stuff, but the old style is the best.
No, that old style, that was good stuff.
Yeah.
Let me give a shout out to my mama and my daddy for hooking me up, because if it was something, they were all about it. I think they were secretly trying to tell me they wanted me to be an engineer, but
Right.
I didn't catch the hint apparently. But it was definitely I loved building things.
Oh yeah, and I've always grown up with Legos and different things like that. I always had something that I was building. Like I took a squirt gun and one of those electric guns that made the sounds and stuff.
Yeah.
I took one of those. I took both of those. I took them all apart as a kid, and I created one gun out of both of them that shot and made sounds. Like just the erector sets and stuff like that. It builds that creativity in a kid.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was a erector set. Do you remember Capsella?
No.
It was these bubbles that had moving parts, so you would click the bubbles together, and then you could make these moving. They look kind of like rover, like moon rover kind of vehicles. That was just good stuff.
I remember the Circuit City things.
Yes.
Where you build your own circuits and stuff. Yes. Where it came with all the little wires and the little doodads and everything else to it. Like, I love doing that. You can make like a radio station and stuff. Like, it was crazy.
Oh yeah, I love those too.
Yeah.
All right, Curtis, that's another reason that we could hang out. And once again, we vibing.
Right? We are.
We are vibing. Okay. So, well, Curtis, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do right now. Right now, we are going to take a brittle break. And let me tell you about the brittle break before we get into the brittle break. So, the brittle break, what we're going to do is when we're going to listen to a Charray's commercial. And when we are done listening to this commercial, I have put next to you a package of Charray's brittle. We're going to have you crack it open here on air, and you're going to try it out and let us know what you think. You ready to get into this brittle break?
Oh, I sure am.
All right, here we go.
Hey, Timber, this is Orson.
This is Yao.
Hashtag the Brittle Daddies. Timber, every week you have some amazing guests who have some amazing stories, and we want to give them a little something.
Yeah, let's give them the pistachio brittle. It's a state fair winner.
Oh, the pistachio. Leave this for guests who have some really exciting stories. I think they'll enjoy it.
Yeah, and if your guests want to find out more about Charray's Ghana style brittle, they should go to charraysgsb.com.
Sounds good. All right, we're out.
Deuces.
Okay. Curtis, have you ever had Charray's Ghana style brittle?
No, I never have, and I'm telling you, it looks pretty good.
Oh yeah. Well,
Right.
go on and crunch into that. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and join you on this one, because this stuff makes me super happy.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie, I love the taste. The taste of it is really good.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: for brittle, it doesn't stick to your teeth, and this is pistachio. You really taste that pistachio flavor in here.
Oh yeah.
Like, pistachio has its own thing going on.
Oh yeah. I love pistachios. Like
Oh yeah, me
this
too.
year's a good brittle. Like I've had peanut brittle and stuff like that where I'm eating it and it sticks right to my teeth. This stuff doesn't even stick to it, like you were saying. Like yeah.
This is good stuff. All
I'm
right.
gonna have to find this.
Oh, and it can be found in different establishments throughout the Fox cities, as well as our food co-op. But there's definitely some of our drinking establishments have put this on the menu as something you can grab as a snack while you're having a libation or a beer. But definitely you can also check it out at the Oshkosh Food Co-op.
Okay.
So check it. And since we are getting close to what I would call, what is that? So farmers market season. They are always at the Oshkosh Farmers Market.
Okay.
And check them out.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to stop there.
All right. And I just want to send a special shout out to our Brittle Daddies, Orson and Yao, hey, thank you so much for being a sponsor of the Kosh. We appreciate you. And as they would say, deuces. Okay. We are getting on to our next segment, and I'm just going to keep crunching along because once I start eating this stuff, I can't stop.
Right.
All right. The next segment is called Story Time. And Story Time is the opportunity for our guest to tell the Kosh listeners a story. So, Curtis, what do you got?
So, sorry, I'm so much in here.
No, take your time. Take your time. I caused the havoc having a brittle break.
Hey, that stuff was really good. I'd have to say one of my greatest stories that I have is growing up with my granddad. May he rest in peace. He was a big supporter of me. You know, I had a real tough childhood growing up. And seeing his business take off the way it did. In Quartzsite, Arizona, he had a small RV business, which got me into cars, wanting to do cars and stuff when I was just a little tyke. But going to his shop and seeing how he worked every single day, how he provided for the family, how he, hit the streets, how he hit the little RV parks and stuff like that to drum up the business really inspired me. And that drives me and my business the same way, hitting the streets, going into these small places, going in, putting myself out there like he did. He was a real big role model for me. Going to his shop every day, watching him work, working with him, playing with the little parts here and there, seeing all the RVs and stuff coming in, the interactions between him and customers, how he always kept a smile on his face no matter how bad of a day he was having. Seeing him come home after work passing out in his chair, while watching the news or whatever, Right. Or just all the little things that he would do with me. His car collection, his Hot Wheels car collection, that was a big thing with me, and his Eagles. I loved seeing all of that stuff. So growing up with him, he was always the protector over me. Anything that happened, he was right there to say, no, this ain't right, or whatever else. That made me the person I wanted to be, was to be like him, to idolize him. I'm the same way with my son. I'll go through the ends of the earth, for my son. And just growing up with like, I can't say anything ever bad about my granddad. He loved he loved my grandma to the end of the time. They were always together. They were inseparable. He strived every day for his business. He strived to put food on the table. He was a big soul. He always, like I said, he always had a smile on his face and loved sharing anything with the world. He'd find somebody that was down on their luck. He would go out and find a homeless person on the side of the road and say, "Hey, you want a job for the day?" And he'd help him out, just like I try to do. I grew up in. I have a brother. I didn't know about him until I was 29. He was 27 when we found each other. I was told my whole life I was an only child by my mother. My mother wasn't the greatest mother. Some of us have those parents. But without her, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I wouldn't be on this earth. But learning from my granddad every day, seeing him strive through life and loving my grandma and loving the family and taking care of everybody, no matter what it came to, really made me the man I am today. Without my father in my life, for my whole life, except for stepdads or whatever that always beat me or whatever, I could always turn to him. I could always turn to my granddad, and he'd be that rock. He'd be that support. He'd be that role model, So yeah, he played a big part in my life, and I wanted to share that with the Kosh listeners today, that there's always somebody in everybody's life that we always idolize, whether it be an actor or whether it be a family member, whether it be, whoever it is. To honor those memorable moments, those people, those times together. They make us who we are.
Facts. Big facts. Okay. Curtis, thank you.
No problem.
Appreciate that. All right. Well, Kosh listeners, it's time. All right. Every single time I hear that, it gets me geeked. And it also means that it is now time for the topic of the week. And the topic of the week is chosen by our guests 99.9% of the time. And guess what? This week ain't going to be any different. So we're about to jump into this topic of the week. Curtis, what do you have for us?
Dwitz Creations.
All right. Dwitz Creations. Let's go.
All right. So Dwitz Creations is all about coming up with new things. It's all about coming up with creative ideas, what the community wants. How can I help the community? Whether it be making stuff for your business, whether it be making stuff for parties or your personal self, or whatever I can do to help my community and just be creative, express myself, put myself out there as a business person, as me, as, my creative abilities, things like that. What can you come up with that I can't come up with? That's why I wanted to call it Dwitz Creations, because the creations part is what can we create? That is my motto for Dwitz Creations, is what can we create?
I like that. What's something that you've created recently that's pretty cool?
I would say my tumblers, those would be the best. I can literally put anything I want on them.
People like custom tumblers, like that's hot.
Yeah, those are hot. Like I can't keep tumblers on the shelf. Like I try to build an inventory to where I can get out and do farmers markets and stuff like that. I can't keep them on the shelf. I create all this new stuff and people are like, oh, I want that right away. As soon as I post it. But like the sublimation tumblers is okay. So if you don't understand sublimation is you take a special ink and a special paper. When you print it out on a printer, you apply it to your tumbler, and when you tape it all down and everything, and you apply the heat to it, that ink turns to a gas and fuses with the tumbler. So there's no like sticker on there or anything else. It is straight on the tumbler, and that's something I like because it lasts. And if you wash it right, because they're not dishwasher safe, obviously, because of the heat and everything. But if you wash it right, it lasts for a long time, longer than most of these tumblers out here do. The bigger industries, shout out to them, like they do really great work and stuff, just doesn't last. With the sublimation tumblers, I love it. They last. And you can put anything you want on it. Like I could take a picture of us right here and I could put it right on there. It's the creative abilities with it is endless. You could create 1,000 tumblers and still not reach the peak yet. You're just touching that tip of that iceberg, and there's still a whole bunch underneath the surface, So that's one of the biggest creative things I love. You can do anything with them.
Okay. What's second?
Shirts.
All about the shirts.
All about the shirts.
And what process are you using to make your shirts?
All right, so I have sublimation for those. I have HTV vinyl. I have DTF vinyl.
Okay, now you're throwing words at us that we don't know.
I'm about to explain those out. So the sublimation is the same thing as the tumblers, where you apply heat and it fuses to the fabric. A lot of times with sublimation, it's more of a polyester blend, like a 65% to 100% polyester. It sticks a lot better to that. There is ways that you can sublimate onto it, that you can stick it to cotton and everything else. But that's a whole different process, which I know how to do all that stuff too for it. DTF is direct to fabric, which is basically it's a big sticker you put on there. And when you apply heat, it It creates the design.
Okay.
Now, HTV is a vinyl that it's a heat transfer vinyl. It's one color. When it comes off of the Cricut machine that cuts out everything, for me. Mm-hmm. Once I put it onto the shirt and I apply the heat, kind of like your shirt there, the Kosh podcast.
Yeah.
Once I apply the heat, it sticks into it. But you get that over time where it starts peeling off and stuff like that. You know? Yeah, like with this, that's the thing that I like about sublimation. That's better is the sublimation when it's heated, it forms to, or it binds to the shirt, the material. Yeah, and it doesn't come off. Like you could sit there and scrape and scrape and scrape, and it's not going to come off. It's part of the shirt now. There's no materials. There's no fabric. There's no nothing else on top of it. It's just straight from the paper to the material.
Now, am I to guess this about the sublimation process? You can do really colorful things, like with lots of colors, right?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a printed thing originally, and then you're putting that sublimation onto the product.
Yep. So you can do with the sublimation, you can do anything.
So you're not like limited, like I think they call it screen printing, where you're like,
no, you're not limited at all with that. Like sublimation, I can print it right off on my printer. You send me a picture, I edit that picture, and I make it a little bit brighter and stuff, so that way it comes out. Because when you heat something, it gets a little bit duller. So you saturate those colors in there, so when they come out and you apply that heat, it comes out the way you want it to after the heat is applied. But that, like you were saying, like I love that. I love doing sublimation because there's no limit to it. I can do anything I want with it, any images I want with it, and it comes out amazing.
How fast is your turnaround time?
Right now, I have some really big orders. I have almost 100 shirts to do. Actually, I have 100 shirts to do. But usually my turnaround time is pretty much what you want. If you say, hey, I need this rushed, yeah, I'm going to rush it if I can. And like I said earlier on the segment, I'm a big pet peeve for liars, so I won't lie to you. If I can't do it, I'm going to tell you I can't do it. And if I can, I'll get it done. And I'm the only one that works for me. I have no employees that work for me. I do all my work 100% myself, my hands, because I'm putting myself out there. You know what I mean? So my turnaround, it really depends on how busy I am at that time. But you need something rushed, I'm going to put my effort in to get it done for you.
Okay, so tumblers, shirts. I'm trying to hit a product that maybe people haven't thought about, that they're going to say, Curtis, we need to talk. What's that product? What's the product that we haven't thought about that we might, because I can tell by the look on your face. You're holding back. There's something. You told us what's popular. Yeah. What's that? What's the hidden gem?
So my hidden gem that I'm starting into, that I just found last week, everybody does tumblers for events, for vacations, whatever else. But as well as I do, when you go to an event and you can't have alcohol there or whatever else because they sell alcohol, everybody sneaks it in anyway. We all know that.
Bruh, I'm not going to admit that. I'm not going to admit that on the Kosh. I don't know what you're talking about, Curtis. What do you mean?
So one of my hidden gems is even for bridal parties or bachelor parties or anything, sublimatable flasks. Because like we were talking about, you can do anything with them, and I can put any of the designs on there, any images on there, everything. Everybody thinks, oh, I'm going to take a tumbler to this event. But you always got that liquor sitting in the car or whatever else, that you wanted to bring with you. Now you got your own flask that has your picture on it or your saying on it or your design on there or whatever else. Now you got your own thing to hold your beverage of choice or whatever else it is in there. Or for your bridal parties or your bachelor parties or your business or, whatever else. That's my little hidden gem, because everybody does the tumblers. Mine's going to be the flasks.
Ooh. Now that there is highly interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's pretty fantastic. Okay. You know, people have all sorts of creative needs. Have you done any knitting or crocheting projects since you mentioned that earlier, or is that pretty rare?
It's pretty rare. I did a crocheted baby chick for one of my friends. She absolutely loved it. It was the first one I ever did for a baby chick, and it came out really nice. It came out very nice. I knew how to crochet, so I knew the whole process and everything to it. And that was the only one I've had knitted or crocheted. I haven't knit for probably about 10 years. Nobody's really wanted anything for knitting. But I've been trying to get more into it again, so I don't lose touch with that, But yeah, like the knitting and crocheting stuff is kind of falling off a little bit, with the new stuff that's coming out with, printing abilities and, all that stuff, making blankets with sublimation and, HTV vinyl, like the heat transfer vinyl. And so like all the older handmade blankets and stuff, they're starting to, I feel anyway, they're starting to fade out a little bit.
Okay. So as people are listening and they're thinking, oh, I might want to work with Curtis, how does that happen?
So you can get a hold of me on Dwitz Creations on Facebook, or you can get a hold of me on my business cards I hand out. Best place to get a hold of me, Angie's Bar.
Wait, is that your office?
No. Angie's Bar has a bunch of my tumblers there that she puts up with her logos on there. That I make all of them for her. I have business cards there. She's got my number. She's a good supporter there of my business. She's got a lot of stuff. The other ones, we both know her, Fat Mamas.
Yes.
Fat Mama, she's a big supporter of me. She's always putting me out there. She's always, hey, you need to get a hold of this guy for this stuff, You can always stop in there and pick up a business card, too, of mine. They're pretty much everywhere. I have them a lot of places, so.
All right. And Kosh listeners, I now also have some of these business cards.
Yes, you do.
So if you are interested in getting in contact, please let me know, and you can email me at askthekosh@gmail.com, and I will put you in direct contact with Curtis and Curtis's services.
And another thing is, no order is too small, no order is too big. So I will work with everybody.
Okay. That, you know what, that's nice, because sometimes it's like you don't want to do big things. You want to do so. Okay. Now, let me ask one last question for you. Okay. Is there any last thing that you would like to share with the Kosh listeners at this time about your topic of the week that maybe I didn't ask a question about, or maybe we didn't get an opportunity to talk about?
So with my pricing on everything, I'm one that if you can show me an estimate from somebody, like for whether it be menus or business cards or whatever, on their prices to do something, I'm going to beat it. That's a guarantee. I will beat their price. So I don't care how big the order is. I don't care how small it is. Like, I'm going to beat their price. I'm out there to get myself out there. I'm out there to get my business out there. And I want to show people what I can do. And if that means I gotta cut my costs down a little bit, I'm going to cut my costs down a little bit, to get that order, to show them what I can do. Because my abilities out there, when they see it, it's all word of mouth, pretty much. That's how my business runs, pretty much, is word of mouth. I don't have a website. I don't have, I have a Facebook, but everything is pretty much word of mouth and me getting out there. So when I can beat those prices and they see my stuff and they're like, oh, wow, like, you should go with this guy, like, that gets me my business.
Okay. I can already picture now somebody gonna be reaching out.
They're
gonna put that to the test.
Yeah, they're gonna hear this and be like, yep. I need him instantly.
Yep, I'm gonna need to put that promise to the test. And my man already said he don't do lying, so he about that life.
Right.
All right. Okay. Well, Kosh listeners, at this time, we're going to start wrapping up this episode. Oh, yeah. There it is. Kosh listeners, I just want to say, hey, thank you for being patient with me right now. I know I'm not producing episodes as consistently as I have in the past, but we're trying to get in a groove. We're going to get back to it. Let me just share with you what's happening right now. I promised you earlier that Bosco, the podcast dog, would pop back up and try to get in. He popped back up, and now he is getting his scratchies and rubs. He is a happy pup.
Yes, he is.
I want to say to you all, thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for giving us your minds and ears. Thank you for caring about this community. Thank you for caring about these people in our community doing amazing things, helping to make this place a better place. As you can tell, my man Curtis, he's been through a journey, but he out here doing great things, and we appreciate him. And let's see if we can support him with a little bit of business out there, Kosh listeners. I've seen some things, and I think his products are nice. He's doing great stuff. All right. So, also, Kosh listeners, we're trying to become the #1 podcast in Wisconsin, but I can't do it without you. So that means there's some things we need from you. Hey, if you would like to be a guest here on the Kosh right now, I'm looking for guests. What do you want to talk about? Let us, the community, get to know you better, get to know your business better, get to know your organization better. Whatever it is that you want to share, come on and holler at us. We are interested. If you know of someone you think would be a great guest for the Kosh, reach out to us. In this case, like Fat Mama did, and reached out to us and told us about Curtis. And that is why Curtis is sitting in this chair right now. And you can do all that by reaching out to us at askthekosh@gmail.com. Once again, that is askthekosh@gmail.com. Go ahead and reach out to us and let us know. The other thing I want to say is while you're listening to this episode, take a moment, hit the subscribe button, fill out that review, or give us those 5 stars. These are all things that increase our analytics, and the better our analytics, the more eyes and ears get to learn about this amazing podcast known as the Kosh. And I just want to say thank you for being awesome, amazing listeners, and a special thank you to all my guests out there who've been here on the Kosh also for giving up time, because let me tell you, being on the Kosh is a process, and it's not a short one. I'm just keeping it real. All right. So right now it is time for shout outs. All right, Curtis, what do you got?
So I got multiple shout outs, as you know. Fat Mama's is the biggest. Fat Mama's. I can't say nothing wrong about her. Angie's Bar is another one for me to shout out to. My fiance Jessica, my son Tegan. Some friends of mine, Lynn Conkle. She supports me a lot. She shares a lot of my stuff. Jay Bruno for helping me get my start. Overtime Bar and Grill. Dark community, the recovery community. List could go on and on, but those are the biggest ones right there for me. So,
okay. All right, let me get to my shout outs. I want to send a shout out to my man Jarius, who just became the head coach of Appleton East. Congrats, my man. Super congrats. I want to send a shout out to my man Orson. Orson, I appreciate you. Thank you for these lessons. You know what? I am trying to start a business, and Orson is on his way of teaching me some lessons. So we out here. So I'm going to put it out there to the Kosh listeners. If you know people that make clothes or can create clothes, I am looking for a bow tie manufacturer or a bow tie producer. So get at me at askthekosh@gmail.com. All right. Shout out to my friend Helen over at Lawrence University. Thank you for the great conversation and catching up. It has been too long. Want to send a very, very exuberant and special shout out to the team over at the Bergstrom Mahler Museum of Glass. I got to go there this week, do a huge tour, hang out with them, learn everything that there was to learn. They rolled out the red carpet for me and my team over at my job. Just treated us like gold. And I got to make a glass garden steak, which was fabulous. So, and hopefully in the future, I've got some feelers out there. I'm hoping to have a glass blower from there be a guest on the Kosh, because I just think it would be cool to have a conversation with a glass blower. Like that's on some different. Big shout out to my friend Faith. Thank you for being you. And Lizette, special shout out to Lizette, special shout out to Katie. And then we have made it through these shout outs. Only one shout out left, and it is always the last shout out, but by far the most important shout out. And that shout out is to the wife. Thank you, baby, for continuing to let me record the podcast in the house. I love you. All right. Now, we are on to the very last thing before we wrap up this episode, and that is this, Curtis. You've got 3 options, and the 3 options are this. Option A, share some parting words of wisdom with the Kosh listeners. Option B, tell us, what would yourself today tell your 13-year-old self? Or option C, you can do both if you like. What we gonna do?
I think I'm going to do the parting words and wisdom. My parting words and wisdom would be, like I said earlier, he who stands in his own shadow wonders why it is dark. And to always know you are enough and you are only bound by your limits. Those would be my parting words of wisdom.
Facts. All right, Curtis, what you think?
Hey, I had a lot of fun.
All right. The Kosh